And I've heard the story that someone came here to do some kind of building work, plumbing or something, years ago. And of course, the place was highly classified, and they thought something was odd about this house in the middle of the countryside, and it had security and police and things in the front. They saw through the front windows of the cottage, and they knew something was odd about it. And obviously it was highly secretive back then, and so this is a pleasure to be able to bring this and show this to you today. How much in the middle of nowhere it is. So here we are in the middle of the countryside at another quaint cottage that hides a nuclear bunker underneath. Going down here underground, again a secret cottage that is built in the middle of nowhere and disguises an underground world that the government and elites and officials would have come down during the threat of a nuclear war with Russia.
Attention. Attention. The UK is currently under attack from nuclear weapons. You have approximately 4 minutes to find shelter. Communications have been severely disrupted. The number of casualties and the extent of the damage are not yet known. Stay tuned to this channel, stay calm, and stay indoors. This is not a test.
So, very fascinating to see these places. You see all the rooms listed here in the underground bunker. Many different rooms in this place again. Then you've got the big blast doors here, which would close at the end of the long tunnel underground, which would close the blast doors in the event of a nuclear attack. And you see, to close the bunker off to the outside world. And again in here, much like the other one, you have the operations for the Royal Observer Corps, the Military Operations Command Centre. You see here the maps on the screen and the place where all of the officials would be. Down here, the command centre, the operations that would continue underground when these things happen. You see a big map of Scotland over there, and they can write on the screens and plan everything, continue these operations underground.
This is an emergency warning from the BBC. Information of a possible nuclear strike against this country has been received.
And here we see, like we've seen before in other ones, the main dormitory. Wow. Not particularly nice, to be honest. Feels a bit claustrophobic in here. And you see at the end there, the big air vents to pump the clean air in the event of fallout and the nuclear attack outside, above ground. Very thick ceilings.
The current threat level is critical, meaning an attack is imminent. All non-essential telephone lines have been disconnected for military use. You should begin your preparations for the strike. Nuclear strikes create fallout, deadly dust which will spread for hundreds of miles and will affect everyone in this country.
And then next door to him, we have the scientific advisors, who have their own room behind glass too, with the military advisors sitting up here, overlooking the whole bustling of the room. A lot of stuff going on, chaos, planning, reaction, you know, everything going on during this state of nuclear war. And you see through there, you've got a window where he looks out onto all the other people with more big giant lit up screens with maps, and he's got curtains to go across the window so he can have some privacy and shut himself in from the rest of the people in the offices. And he's got places for his guests to come. He's got his bed over there. You see that, his bed over there in the distance? But this is a nice little office here. Telecommunications, secretive messaging, coding, this whole area. They use these, and look at this. 2,800 telephone lines are connected to this point. The main distribution frame. So a lot of telecommunications to the outside world possible from deep underground here during a nuclear war. So let's go down underground further, deeper into the bunker, with many other things below here to see. I tell you, there is a real creepiness to the air, to be honest, down here. At times it just feels rather creepy. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on down the deeper we go into the bunker. And for, you know, times gone by, people's faith was stronger several decades ago in this country. And it's interesting here that in this one, they actually have a chapel, a place of worship for those in the faith. Right underground, down here, a chapel. Place for those with the Christian faith to pray and to preach and to sing hymns. This is absolutely fascinating. All marked with the ventilation systems to keep the air clean. A place to sing praise to the Lord deep underground under that cottage. And this place was also intended, I believe, for the Queen. If she was in Scotland at the time, this would have been used for her also. Got a pulpit. Bible. Place chairs for all the Christian people. And an organ at the back. See these big shafts in here, which is a stark reminder of what this place is actually for. And you see this organ here to do church services during a nuclear apocalypse. Rather strange and surreal irony to the place. Very interesting. And the radar rooms down here for the RAF, the Royal Air Force. You got the radar rooms down here, a lot of military operations. The Soviet incursions into UK airspace are detected and monitored from these rooms. This is something for you to think about. If this was built and others in the UK and beyond were built during the period of the Cold War, but the Cold War, you know, obviously there wasn't a nuclear war, there wasn't a nuclear strike, but they clearly thought there would be. So what does that say about the way this world is run, and perhaps the nuances that maybe we miss? That if it was only one group of people, and there wasn't nuances between world powers, then why would they build something as extravagant as this if they knew there wouldn't be a nuclear war, if it was completely only one centralized power? So I think that shows us an example perhaps of, you know, that there are conflicts, that there are nations in the world that would go to war with each other, and there are nuances in the realms of power and in the leadership in different parts of the world. So I don't think it's just cut and dry, black and white, like sometimes you see in the truth movement. I think that there are nuances to be taken into consideration. So that's just something to think about. And to be honest, I think this place is a lot bigger than they let on, than they let you see. And there was one room in there that we saw, it said it's still active in a certain way. But it was, you know, this is obviously a man-made hill. Looks that there could be certainly more underground here than they show, than they've opened up. I would think there's more underneath here. And there's various antennae and things around there. So what is further beyond this? What more is there underground that you don't see? I just encourage you to not get lost in the politics of things and in the conspiracy side of things, but to remember that there are real people that suffer in the invasions and in the attacks of this world and at the hands of leaders and wickedness in high places. So I just really want to bring that home today, that you know, that we should care a lot about the people that are clearly suffering in Ukraine and other places across the world that get caught up in the middle of these wartime situations. So I encourage you to pray for them and to think of those above the theories and the politics, which we can sometimes get so sidetracked by and forget the genuine suffering of poor people, of vulnerable people, of the widows and the orphans, you know, that God tells us to care for those vulnerable people. So that should really be, I think, our main focus as Christians, to care for those in need.